organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, we'll tell you about some Native American students working to preserve their culture through traditional song and dance. Plus, they may be cut from a different cloth, but style knows no borders as UI students from all walks of life hit the catwalk over the weekend.
And both softball and baseball had road rubber matches to decide their weekend series, but could either team pull out a crucial victory? We'll have the answer in sports.
That's all coming your way next, right here on Daily Iowan TV.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Happy Easter and welcome to your Sunday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm John Dedcott. Members of the UI and Iowa City community gathered today for the 19th annual powwow at the UI Recreation Building. The event was put on by the American Indian Student Association to celebrate American Indian culture through music, dance, art, and food. Traditional powwows were put on by individual tribes, but many contemporary powwows now feature dance competitions between multiple tribes. The two-day event featured nearly 100 dancers from different tribal groups, and with over 2,500 people in attendance this year, organizers said they were happy with the turnout.
We've been working on this ever since fall semester started, and so it's been a long process, but you know, this day finally came and it's a big relief on our shoulders.
Powwow leaders came from all across the Midwest, including drummers and dancers from Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Nebraska. And your new UI student government president is Nick Potabom. On Friday, officials announced the I Party won this year's election with roughly 58% of the vote. The party ran on a platform based primarily on capping tuition fees. Vice President-elect Jessie Tobin said she and Potabom would waste no time working to fulfill their campaign promises.
Amazing when we found out that we'd won, but I think we're just mainly excited to just get in and start working. Like we said, day one, we're going to be able to get in and start getting things done, so I think Nick and I need to sit down and have a conversation and just figure out what we need to attack first.
39 senators from the I Party were also elected into office. And it wasn't a typical Easter Eve, as different nations, genders, and student organizations all joined forces to address their issues through fashion. Daily Iowan TV's Jake Abrams was at last night's fashion show to learn more about why these different cultures came together to walk it out.
It may look like an ordinary night at the IMU, but it was far from it, as hundreds of University of Iowa models joined together Saturday night to put on a fashion show for the world. And while it may seem unflashy and calm before the show, just wait till they walked on the stage. It looks something like this. The show is called Walk It Out, which features 15 cultures coming together to represent their nation or group's issues through fashion, something to bring together the community in a fun way.
We're in Iowa. This isn't exactly the fashion capital, so it just brings something new, something new, and just more flavor to the campus and the city. I mean, you don't really hear of too many fashion shows in Iowa or anything to do with fashion. And then not only that, there's a small minority population at the university, so I think it showcases that and gives them a voice, and the show makes people aware of those particular groups, and just knowing that they exist, they have identity, and it lets them express themselves because they usually may not ever get to.
It's a different kind of show for many different cultures and organizations as they collaborated in the 2-hour show. They also took the opportunity to take donations for AIDS research. Walk It Out's multicultural fashion show is to express the voice of different groups in a different way.
This is definitely a moment and a time where some people get to express themselves for the first time to an audience that may not know much about them or where they come from.
Stylish students turned heads and certainly didn't go unnoticed, with over 700 people crowding the IMU for the free event. And still to come on Daily Iowan TV, find out how some UI students are working to improve autism awareness. Plus, we'll tell you about the changes coming soon for every vehicle registered in Iowa. And that's coming up in a bit, but first let's go to Muriel Kone for your local weather forecast. Muriel?
Thanks, John. Once again, another beautiful Sunday for Easter, and tomorrow will be just as sunny, as well with highs in the upper 40s. We'll see a 10-degree jump in the afternoon, and it will drop back down to 48 during the evening. Looking at our extended forecast, things will cool down throughout the week. Temperatures will be as low as 53 degrees on Tuesday and as high as 71 on Saturday and Sunday. For the most part, the sun will be out in the next couple days, and some cloudy skies will take over on Thursday and Saturday. But be prepared for some thunderstorms on Friday and Sunday, so definitely bring that umbrella with you on your way out the door. And honestly, John, I'm ready for this cool down and certainly looking forward to the spring showers. Back to you.
Thanks, Muriel. April is Autism Awareness Month, and some UI students are working to bring that awareness here to campus. Local residents affected by the disorder came together for a special kickoff festival on Saturday. Although experts estimate that 1 in every 88 children has some form of autism, only 12 UI students have registered the disorder with the university. Officials say that is likely due to fear of becoming stigmatized, and festival organizers said improving autism awareness has to take place at the community level.
We just want to get as many students, faculty, and community members involved, just so they're aware of the fact, because autism is growing and it's so prominent, and sometimes not as identifiable as other disabilities.
Along with games and other activities, the event featured a performance by the Combined Efforts Theater program that works to provide a positive outlet for people with special needs. And every car on the road is a bit different, but they all have one thing in common, and that's what's bolted on the back. Daily Iowa TV's Brad Maxwell explains why every Iowa vehicle will soon have a new look.
It's been 15 years since Iowa transitioned from the classic dark blue plates with white lettering to the current design, which features a farm scene with a skyline background. But as plates have aged over the last decade, the Iowa DOT suggests it may be time for a change.
And some were starting to get in pretty poor shape. So they started the process replacing all the plates that were entered into the system in 1996 and 97.
As the old plates begin to be replaced, drivers with a keen eye may notice several differences. The alphanumeric structure will be reversed in the new plates, with letters now preceding the numbers. This is in response to a limited amount of remaining plate combinations, which was expected to run out later this summer. The new plates will also feature black lettering instead of the classic navy blue.
The changing to the black and things like that was to make it easier for law enforcement to see and tack. We have talked to some law enforcement people, and the reflectivity, they didn't even know what we were talking about.
In addition to the basic style, the Iowa DOT offers several specialty plates, such as the University of Iowa Hawkeye plate. And while they are very different from the basic design, Chris suggests they will ultimately follow the same replacement guidelines.
They're personalized, but were issued back in 96 and 97 this first round. You will replace those plates with a new plate that will have your same personalized information on it.
So whether drivers are using their plates to simply identify their car or to show school spirit, many drivers can expect to see changes in their license plates in the near future. I'm Brad Maxwell, Daily Iowan TV.
And now Daily Iowa TV's Ian Martin is here for your look at Hawkeye sports.
At least one Hawkeye is celebrating after Iowa City played host to the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships this weekend. Iowa's team didn't have a banner weekend, but one Gym Hawk was named first team All Big Ten. Broderick Szymanski made the first team after finishing fifth in Friday night's all-around finals with a career-high score. A particularly high score on the parallel bars clinched the spot for Szymanski, who didn't even qualify for any of the individual finals on Saturday. Asked about the win afterwards, he told the Daily Iowan simply, "It feels good." Also on Friday night, the conference held its team finals, and feeling good as well are the Illinois Fighting Illini, who took home gold for the fourth straight season in the Big Ten. Here are the final standings. The Illini, who took home Freshman, Gymnast, and Coach of the Year awards, they're very, very good, are the first Big Ten team to win 4 straight titles since 1980 when Minnesota accomplished the same feat. Michigan was really the only other team even close to Illinois in the competition. Penn State took home bronze. Iowa, not its best weekend, finishing in 6th place out of 7 teams. Both baseball and softball were on the road this weekend in the Big Ten, and the men team rode a 2-game winning streak after a midweek sweep of South Dakota State at home. The momentum carried into Friday at least. One more victory for Iowa as they scored all 4 of their runs in the 5th inning. First baseman Mike McQuillan, big game, 2 RBI, 3 hits. Saturday, though, Iowa's streak snapped in a pretty big way. Cornhuskers hang 9 on the Hawkeyes, 5 of which were at the expense of the Iowa ace Matt Dermody. Rubber match on Sunday. Everything went swimmingly until that crucial 9th inning. Got to finish them all. When Iowa gave up 4 runs to lose 9-8, Nick Brown takes the relief loss for Iowa after a walk-off single by the Huskers. That's an especially tough defeat for Iowa. They blew a 5-run lead at Indiana last week, and the current defeat drops the Hawkeyes to below 500 in the Big Ten. Their female counterparts, softball, were on their first conference road trip of the year, splitting a doubleheader with Northwestern to start the series. Iowa garnered the Saturday split after a bus ride to Evanston, winning Game 1 5-2 while dropping Game 2 6-7 in favor of the Wildcats. Victorious Game 1, Iowa scored all 5 of its runs in the 2nd inning. Biggest hit being a 3-run double by senior Katie Kime. Iowa couldn't complete the comeback in Game 2, though, scoring twice in the 6th to make it 7-6, but going scoreless in the 7th. Rubber match on Sunday was never even close, though. Wildcats had 5 runs in the first, added 4 in another inning later, and scattered some other play touches in there as well. Iowa, even with 6 runs, never even competed in the final game. So softball went 1-2 this weekend, but still have a winning record in conference play. Now they've lost 3 out of 4 games, though. Marla Looper's team going to try to turn it around next week against Nebraska. Meanwhile, in Louisiana, records fell for the men's track and field team while they competed alongside the women's team at LSU. Senior Jeffrey Herron broke a school record in the high jump by a mere quarter of an inch. The previous record of 7 feet 4 inches was last set in 1978 after it was originally set in 1975. It is now set in 2012. Later in the day, Winter All-American Eric Sowinski had a good start to the spring. An even older record fell in the 800-meter race, beating the 1962 Hawkeye best by more than 60 tenths of a second. Both Herron and Sowinski won their events with those school records, helping Iowa to a 3rd-place finish in a pretty strong field at that LSU meet. The women's team not as fortunate, finishing 8th on their side of the field. One last note this evening, some bad news for the Iowa women's basketball team, who learned this weekend that freshman Catherine Reynolds tore her ACL and will likely miss next season. This is her 2nd ACL injury, both suffered on the same left knee after she had one in high school. This is a blow to the sophomore to be. She didn't play much last year, but was probably going to have a much bigger role this season with Bluter's bunch. Always tough to stomach those injuries, John, especially in the offseason.
Yeah, you always hate to lose a player, but that definitely does put a little extra sting on it. Thanks, Ian. And now we'll take a look at some of the top headlines from across the globe. North Korea triggered fears of a long-range missile test as it moved a rocket onto its launch pad Sunday. This rare peek into the reclusive nation shows a rocket ready for launch. North Korean officials say it will be used to launch a satellite, while other reports indicate the nation is preparing for its 3rd underground nuclear test. And strong winds have caused massive sandstorms in northern parts of China. The storm is the region's 2nd extreme weather event of the spring, although it was expected to weaken overnight on Sunday. And thousands of people gathered in Vatican City today to hear the Pope deliver a special Easter sermon. Among other things, the Pope called on Nigeria specifically to work towards religious respect and peace. The African nation recently experienced several terrorist attacks, including a car bombing near a church on Easter Sunday. And before we go, take a look at this. Saturday was International Pillow Fight Day, and folks in Canada came out swinging to celebrate. You can see people really just going at it in the streets of Toronto there. Thousands of people participated, and perhaps it's unsurprising, but even with all the violence, there were no reports of injuries. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak preview of tomorrow's print edition of the Daily Iowan. Read about how an offshoot of the Occupy Iowa movement is organizing to support American laborers, plus why underage students make up a majority of the UI's emergency room visits. And that'll do it for this edition of Daily Iowan TV. Check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.